if you allow people and what they do and what they do wrong to stop you, you might as well just give it up. You have to keep moving through things that are hard, through things that are unfair.
Right.
There's no guarantee that it's going to be fair, but it's a guarantee if you do what you're supposed to do, you're going to make it. You're going to get on the other side. And I am so committed to that.
All right. So go ahead, show it to me again.
Okay,
Now
wait
that
a
we
minute.
started. That's all
Okay,
right. I can see it.
so you know her name.
Yes, you told me the name of
Her,
show me the money. Well, say it.
her
You can
name
say it.
is Show Me the Money.
And so I
And
want
many
you to see.
times I take her with me because
Really?
sometimes, yeah, sometimes, when I'm speaking and people ask questions, I'm an old Southern lady. So sometimes, I would like to be careful about how I respond to people. I don't want to hurt their feelings or
Uh-huh.
offend them. And so sometimes I need to say something. So my girl jumps up and will say it. Oh, what did you say? Okay, she said, show
Show
me the
me the
money.
money.
Yeah.
I like that. That's like talking in third person.
Yes. Yes.
I
Yeah, I
like
got
it.
this from my great granddaughter because when she used to come over, I would when she was little, sometimes she wouldn't want to talk. And so I would have a cow and horsey and piggy and lammy, and they were little puppets. So I would have them to do the talking.
I like that. But I like it because it's easy to imagine in the context of children. It's hard to imagine
Yes.
the context of, like you said, business or like you said.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's a much harder context. But so this box,
Show me the
which
money.
again, it's called Show Me the Money.
Yeah. Oh,
And this is
wow.
what we gave students who bought my program 2022. And then inside, hold on, wait. Inside, there's a quote from James Baldwin.
Oh, let's see. Not everything that is face can be changed, but nothing can be changed unless it's face. All right, now that's what I'm talking about. I love that.
Right. So, like I said, and then inside it had my books and but like I said, it's interesting that you brought that up. That's a great way to open up. How are you doing?
I am doing fine. I've been doing a lot, so it's that I graduated from the 8A program.
I do. But let's before we get there, let's tell people who you are for those who may not know you.
Oh, I'm the one that doesn't do coffee. Oh, you
Okay.
mean more than that?
More than that, more than that. Your
Because
name. We
I
start with your
know a lot
name
of
was a good
people.
place to start.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, so I will start with who I am.
Okay. Who you are. That's
I'm a
great.
not so young woman
Mm-hmm.
from North Carolina.
Okay.
I'm real Southern, a collard green ham hock eating woman. I love that. I love people and I love life. And I think that if I could choose one thing that makes me happy, you know what that is?
What is it?
Being able to help others. I just love that. I'm like your mom. Yeah.
My mom, she's I
She's
cannot
amazing.
remember a time where I can't even remember a week where she did not help someone.
I know. I know that it's in her DNA, just like me. It's in my DNA.
Yes.
We don't know how not to do that.
Right.
Yeah. So, and that is one of the reasons that I've found this journey for business to be so amazing. And the fact that I don't have to have secrets. You know, you met people and they do something and they do it well and they make money and you want to ask them, well, can you share with me? But they don't want to do that. You know why? Because they're afraid that you're going to make as much or more than them.
Right. Right.
So they have secrets. But I don't have secrets because just like with you, when I met you, I knew one thing about you. Guess what that was?
Or was it?
this guy is going to be, I think he's not going to stop at being a millionaire. He's going to be a billionaire. That's you
Right.
because I could see it in you.
Right.
And because of what you have of your mom, how you give, you're going to be blessed with more
Yeah. Thank you for
because you
that.
know what to do with what you
Right.
have.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've
I'm,
been trained to be a good steward, right, of resources.
yes, you are that indeed. And let me tell you, I want the world to know this. I'm trying to think of who I know that could have invited me to go to California and that I would have gotten on a plane to go there, except you, except you.
I love it. I love it.
Except you. You are the one because I see not only do I see greatness in you, but I see caring and I see truth and I see honesty.
Right.
And many times I don't see that. I see or I hear a lot of I call it gum flapping. You know what
Okay.
gum
Gum
flapping?
flapping. That's a good place. That's a Southern term.
Yeah, yeah. Gum flapping is yeah, 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 yeah. And I let me tell you how to do this, and let me tell you how to do that, and let me show you this and that. But they've never done it. So that's what I call gum flapping.
I got you. Gum flapping. I like that one. See,
Mhm.
we're already starting with our first Southern term for today. Gum flapping.
Oh my God.
Gum flapping. Huh?
Oh yeah, gum flapping. Yeah, we you don't do that. You provide truth and meaning and I just love it. I love your programs. I love your the way that you teach
Thank you.
because everybody cannot do that either. You know that too.
I do know that. I did not realize that that was a gift, but after seeing what some people how they operate, yeah, I see the differences.
Yeah, teaching. Yeah. That's a gift. That's actually in the Bible. You know that.
I
Teaching.
did not know that.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Yeah. So, but anyway, I've been doing fine. The difference for me post, I know you said not to talk about it.
Well, we
Not
gotta tell you didn't tell them your name.
Mama
I know
you?
everyone knows you because they've seen you on
Okay.
my show before, but for the
Okay.
new people that missed the previous episode that we did together,
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So
yeah, let's
they
give them
don't know
some
who I am.
context, right?
Okay. All right. My name is Corliss Udoema. I also go by Mama You. And because I'm not such a small person, I do allow people to call me Big Mama because I am. My name that I love to go by because of my love and support of military and veterans is Corliss 365 24/7 veteran supporter. And that is something that I put on, even I sign my emails with that. I am from New Bern, North Carolina, founded by the Swiss, home of Pepsi Cola. And it is where great people meet and greet. And we love hospitality and sweet tea.
I like sweet tea.
If we ever meet and you offer me some tea, please don't look at my size. Just know I want sugar. Okay. Well, you know, some people try to be kind. Oh, would do you like diet? No, I would not.
Right, right, right.
They try to be mindful.
That's funny. I like that. And by the way, for those listening, her episode was episode number 22 when I first got started back in 2019. So
Mhm.
now we're almost 5 years removed, just past 4 years removed from the last time we got together. And it's officially and did an interview. Like she said, she did come out to our event out in LA, which turned out to be the foundation for our actual conference that we hosted last year, which is also something exciting to talk about when we come on. So that was a precursor.
Great.
And we ended up having our own full fledged event, a full day summit that was sold out over 300 people in Miami. And it was a great success. And we're doing it again this year, hoping to get some more agencies involved. And we anticipate our attendees going to be over 800 this year. So we're excited to
Wow.
have that coming up in
Amazing.
November.
Amazing. And for all you government personnel, I retired from the government as a contracting officer, level 3. Please, if you have an opportunity, uh, now, even if you don't have one, make one and attend the conference. You won't regret it.
Hey, I love it. So now that you've level set, uh,
Mhm.
last time it's funny because the last when we got together, the title was Great Grandma Drops All the Wisdom, Business, Faith, and Timeless Wisdom. Uh, and so, like you said, we'll go back in and you gave us some the background to the company and the business, and they can go back and listen to that episode. We talked about how you got your name from, and so they can go back and listen to that. So now today we could come fast forward to what's happened in the last 4 years.
Yeah, the book.
The book,
Yeah, the book. So since
you did a calendar.
oh yeah, I do a veterans calendar
Mm-hmm.
annually. This is the 2024 is my 5th edition. The theme for the calendar is sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
And please take a look at it. You're going to have the information for a website so they can go and take a look at that.
Absolutely.
It is really amazing. The young man that's on the front of the calendar lost both of his legs in service to our country at the age of 21. And so we do the veterans calendar, which we take all the proceeds and donate to veterans and veteran nonprofit organizations. I have a book, and I would encourage you, if you want to have a little something to help you along the way. Uh, it's not an Eric written book, but it is something that you'll be able to get through it very quickly. It's words of wisdom. Mama You speaks on business and life. So I'm very transparent in the book. So if I did something that I made a mistake, I don't cover it up. It's in there, and I let you know how I recovered from it and how it worked. And I also have T-shirts. In fact, I'm wearing one now. See, I do a lot of things, but one thing I don't do, you know what that is, baby?
What is it?
Average.
Mm, that's it.
I don't do average. So the success of my business has been driven by obviously my faith in God and the fact that if I can't deliver excellence, you're not going to see me at the door. I don't do that. Two things: excellence, consistently deliver excellence, and take care of your people. Take care of them. Don't have them at the coffee shop talking about how they wish they could get another job. And then you'll be what I call a BTN. I learned that in relationships. You know what a BTN is?
No.
You don't.
Mm-mm.
A BTN, I got it from a relationship, and I was telling this lady about, for example, you're expecting someone for dinner. He's going to come over at 7, but it's drizzling outside. It's not raining. It's not storming. It's not sprinkling. It's drizzling. And so, for the information of those that don't know, drizzling is the least amount of moisture that can come out of the air. So, he's not going to come because it's drizzling, because he washed his car. He doesn't want to get any wetness on it. So, he doesn't show up. And that's because you're a BTN, you're better than nothing. In the work
Mm.
situation, it's the same thing. I meet you, you're looking for a job, you have a top secret clearance. The job that I have only has a secret clearance. So what are you going to do? You're going to accept it because your job is ending and you don't have anything else.
Right.
So I am what?
Better
Better,
than nothing.
better than nothing. So on day one, I guarantee you, I know what that employee will be doing.
Looking for another job.
Yes. Make $100 an hour. I have a job that pays 75. You come to work for me, day one, you're looking for another job that pays 100 or more. That
Interesting.
is life.
So is
So
that So is that why when employers tell people that they're overqualified, they don't hire them?
Is that why? I would say so.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, I would say so.
Because a lot of people that I've heard, and again, we're talking about employees, right? They'll say, well, employers tell me I'm overqualified. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, well,
This is a small business, so
can I
you can
use
talk
the
from the
L word?
employer standpoint here.
Yeah, I
Uh,
know, but can I use the L word?
you can use whatever words you like.
Yeah, okay. Well, they may be lying too.
Ah,
Some people, now me, I'm very honest. I'm serious. I've had people that have come to me and I might ask them where they're working and they'll tell me and I might say, okay, you're under contract. How long is your contract? And I had one lady, she said it was 4.5 years left on the contract, right? So I told her, I said, well, I could offer you the job. I think you'd be great at it, but I wouldn't take it if I were you. She said, why not? I said, because my job, I can only guarantee 7 months.
right,
When I looked at her qualifications, I said, and also, I'd recommend that you look at government employment because you have all of the skills and the qualifications. I mean, I would do that as well if you're interested in working for the federal government. And so, anyway, I didn't hire her. 4 months later, I heard from her. Guess why?
right.
Her contract was ending.
But she said,
She was on a 5-year contract. But what they didn't tell her when they hired her is that they only had 6 months left. Ah,
oh,
why did someone do that?
right,
Because they were more interested in what they could get versus the in person that they were bringing on board. They
right,
didn't send something that wasn't the truth. See, I don't run that route. Mm-mm. And that's why she called me back. So sometimes when people say, "Oh, you're overqualified," what does that mean, really?
right,
If I tell you that, well, I've never used those words really. I might say, we need more background on this or that. But if they have all of the qualifications, then I will take it to the government and say, hey, here's someone. And there are different reasons that people want to make a change. As long as you're satisfied that they're making a change because they want change, not just everything is running out and you're better than nothing, and I'll take this until I can do better. I don't have a problem with that.
hmm,
Yeah, I don't know. Just seeing overqualified is it doesn't say anything.
right, right, right. You're not giving people context.
Uh,
You're not giving them any context by saying
right,
overqualified.
nothing. And
Right,
so when someone is looking for a job, be mindful, even regardless of the seat that you're sitting in, be mindful that that could be you.
right.
Would you want to go in and say, "Oh well, you're great, but you know you're overqualified"? So give somebody something that they can use to do better, not something that just walk out. Well, it doesn't do anything for you. That's my take on it.
That's interesting. That's again, that comes from experience, right? And wisdom.
Yes, yeah, yeah. You always want to, and that's one of the reasons that I believe I've had a lot of people that have worked for me that have referred other people that have come back after they've left and maybe they go somewhere and they might want to come back and see, is there anything available? That's why I've had some that, "Oh, I'm tired of doing this now. I think I want to start my own business." I've even had recently I had a young man that used to work for me and he came with his father and they decided they wanted to start a business, but he came to just to chat with me, see what my thoughts were, because they know that I don't have secrets.
Mm.
If I know something, if I can share something that will help them, I will do it.
That's great. What do you For the people again who did not hear the first episode, what is your primary business? What does it do? The function?
Oh, acquisition, contracting, staffing.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, for those of you that don't know me, it took other people to tell me what my business was.
I remember that story.
Yeah, I mean, it was just amazing. I was new. Someone needed someone. I provided a person, and so that's what I did. And then they asked me to provide someone else, and then they asked me to provide someone else. And oh, that's one of the secret sauces. And that is when you go in, remember what I said about excellence?
Mm-hmm.
You consistently deliver excellence. You know what's going to happen? You're going to be able to fit into the category stick and stay, segue, and make deposits. Stick and stay. That means you go somewhere. My first contract, I mentioned that before. My first contract with the government was for 6 months. That relationship turned into a 10-year relationship. I had another one. I used that as not only stick and stay, but segue. I started off there with a 2-day contract for 8,500. Then I went to a 2-year contract for 400,000. And then I went to a 5-year contract for $4 million. So it's segue, going up the ladder.
Mm-hmm.
And then ultimately you what? Make deposits. See, I know that, and I'm not recommending it for everybody, but you can say what you want about advertising and business development, and you can say all of that. But the underlying reason people will consistently will come back to you is because what? You deliver excellence.
I agree.
You see? You
I agree.
agree.
Oh yeah. Oh, I,
Because
I,
not only,
I, I, I,
uh,
I got
oh,
my own stories, but keep going.
oh yeah, no, but the thing of it is, I was going to say, is that the best way to live your life is that others can tell your story. I can sit here and tell you I've done this, I can do this, but when someone else tells you, it's a whole different ball game. So I truly believe I'm not against advertising. I'm not against marketing or anything like that. I think it has a good place, but it cannot stand alone. You got to deliver. You can have all kinds of fancy things, but if you don't deliver excellence, if people can't count on you, you're toast.
Yeah, it's funny. When we did an interview, I helped this company do BD. I got
Mhm.
them contracts, and they did not deliver excellence.
Oh, oh man.
And mind you, I give you context. They did
Uh,
great. Wait, they did great work. Horrible paperwork. So came from the private sector. They're used to, well, as long as the building is being constructed well, the project looks good, all of that, that's makes people happy. And so I said, but you're not paying attention to your submittals, the requirements, your responsiveness is poor. They're telling you, hey, you're not giving, we're asking you to give us updates.
right.
So they said, well, but the project's going well. So why do we have to do all this other stuff? And I said, you agreed to do that in the beginning. So why are you being combative now throughout the process? Long story short, fast forward, the government stopped using them
Wow.
because they said they were non-responsive when we tried to call them and yes, they do good work in terms of the construction, but in terms of the responsiveness, they had poor responsiveness. Do you know that the gentleman who was primarily at fault for this, he reached out to me recently and he said, hey, Eric, we need some more sole source work.
Whoa. Oh, can I answer that? What your response should have been? You what your response should have been?
I'm listening because I haven't responded to him yet. So I'm listening for you. Go ahead.
Hey, great, do it. You know what? I'm going to do that when pigs fly. That's another Southern expression. So, my man, when you look outside and see the pigs flying in the sky,
Right.
man, you know I'm on it.
I'm
I'm
on
going
it.
to do that. Yeah. But
Okay.
until you see that, don't look for that. That's your sign. When you see pigs flying, boom, that I'm down with that.
Yeah, no, it's really to your point. That's why, I remember your conversation talking delivering excellence. And I would remind these people and I would stay on top of them. And I said, I said, you realize that the person that's managing the construction, the site manager, right? The person in the field, they didn't give us the contract. The person that gave us the contract is the person that's complaining about us.
Wow.
I said, so the very person that made this award to us, you're dismissing them because you feel as though you're satisfying the person on the site in the field. So that resonates with me so to my core.
On one of the workshops, I'm famous for having presentations that are slightly different, me. So I have one, and I have this cartoon picture of a airplane, right? So I tell the story about this pilot that small plane ran into a terrible storm. And I mean, it was just lightning and thundering, and the wind was going. And I mean, he really, really had to pull everything together to be able to get that plane to land. And of course, the passengers were cheering him on. The people at the airport were, talking to him, and everything worked well. And he was able to land the plane, and everybody was breaking out in applause, clapping their hands, etc. Everything was fine except one thing. He landed at the wrong airport. Okay. He landed at the wrong airport. So it doesn't matter how skillful he was,
Right.
how he landed and blah, blah, blah. If he was at the wrong place, what's the value of that?
None. Zero.
So you can tell that to your buddy.
Yeah. Oh, he's gonna have to tell it. One thing that when you spoke in LA, there was a clip that I shared with you that went kind of viral when you were saying how you help people back when you were a contracting officer and you start teaching and training people that they had a really high success rate of winning.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that clip?
Yeah. Well, I don't remember the clip, but it's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
What? So I just and the reason why I bring it up is because we posted that little clip of you and it resonated with a lot of people and they want to ask more information about that. So can you talk about that a little bit?
About what they need to do.
Well, about what you were training people on that they experience such a high success rate.
Well,
I know it's a far back time, but
no, but I'm thinking about it. The first thing that I did is I made sure that I had, remember you talked about the different people that are involved in the contracting process.
right,
I made sure I had the contracting officers there for the training session. And I made sure I had the technical people there, the people that they would be doing the work for. And so when you get that, you get the picture of it. Because if you haven't done business with the government, oh my gosh, and you look and see all that is written and you don't understand it, but yet you're supposed to do it and
right,
comply,
right,
that is a major thing. So having the understanding of what you have agreed to do. And I know it sounds elementary, but it's just like when people get grants or get contracts, I believe it's the same process. You need to sit down. I like an Excel spreadsheet. And you know what I'd like to do? I like to go through the contract. What have I promised to do? Okay. If you put down that list of what I promised that I would do in this contract for the money that they're going to pay me, what did I promise to do? And here's another biggie. When did I promise to do it? Because on time delivery is very key. So, what do I promise to do? When did I promise to do it? Who's going to actually do it? Who is actually the government person in the government that's responsible for it? And what is their contact information? And make sure when that's delivered, boom, you have a record of that. Just trying to go loosey goosey is not going to work. You need to know what it is. You need to have understanding. And if you don't understand, there's no crime in that. Raise your hand and say, "Hey, I'd like to talk about X, Y, Z. I would like to make sure that I am doing what is required." Construction is, oh my goodness, that's why I never got into construction. Oh, myself,
Right. Sure.
because that's the only field that I know of that you can start off making $500,000 and end up owing $1 million
Mhm.
if you don't do the right thing.
Right.
So you are tops in my book for being able to do that.
No, I will listen. I want to learn how to do what you guys do. I mean, I don't want to look. Someone told me the other day about, hey, I want to learn some other areas because I don't want to be in that situation. If my thing says $500,000, I want to walk away with $500,000.
Um, the thing that I would recommend, just like with the training, getting people to understand, and honestly, when you have people that have never worked for the government, they can show up in some crazy ways. Because I had a company that they were there in front of the general's building doing work, and they'd taken their shirts off. No problem for them. Yeah, I know.
I mean,
They,
like taking up their physical,
yes, they had that.
undressing,
Yeah,
undressing.
yes. They had their shirts off working outside. They were doing yard work, but it doesn't matter. Yep, no shirts. And they had to put their clothes back on. Okay. But the key thing is understanding what you have committed to do,
Right.
doing it on time. And you know what? And if you have a problem meeting your schedule, you know when the time is to do it is not
Not
after it's supposed to have been completed. We don't do that. We don't go after the point. You go, you raise your hand. In my book, I talk about a story about I was asked to go and do work on a project. And the captain had me in his office and he was going over, step by step, I need to do this, I need to do this. And, had a lot of different things that he was telling me I needed to do. And so I asked him, could I ask a question? And he said, yeah, go ahead. I said, sir, do you need me to do step by step everything that I've written everything down. Do you need me to do that? Or do you need me to get the job done? He said, isn't that the same thing? I said, no, sir. I said, if I follow you step by step, I'm going to do everything that you have told me to do without exception. I'm not going to add and I'm not going to subtract. However, if you tell me to go and get the job done, I'm going to make that assessment of what needs to be done, and I'm going to do that. If I have difficulty or if I run into any obstacles that would prevent me from delivering, when I said that I will raise my hand. I'll come to you and I would ask for a redirection. But otherwise, I would get it done. So guess what happened?
okay.
He looked at me, he said, get the job done. And that's what I did. So having that in you is something that you need if you're going to work, especially with the government. You need to deliver on time, and you need to have a reputation for delivering on time. You need to have a reputation for bringing in the right people to do the job. And you need to make sure that you stay on the path that gets you there on time and not after the fact.
I don't think that a lot of people listening would understand what you just said. I
Oh,
think that's
really?
a, yeah, because not the getting the job done part, the part where you spoke with a gentleman about, do you want me to follow your instructions or do you want me to get the
Right,
job done?
right.
Because in most people's mind, that's the same thing.
It's the same thing, really?
Yeah, because they've never worked for the government. And as a person who, as a federal contractor, I understand that sometimes they'll give you this whole process to follow. And if something in the process goes away, you stop, you ask permission, and then you wait for the next set of instructions. But everyone, I don't think everyone understands that.
Wow. Okay, so if they do something, if they're getting steps, now this is different from something in writing. You're not talking about something in writing. You're
Oh,
talking about they come in and have a conversation with you, and they tell you to do this, this, and this.
yeah, no, I want to go back, stick to your example. Like you said, you're asking a gentleman, do you need me to get the job done, or do you want me to follow your, the process steps?
What you ask me
Right,
to do, and
right.
you're saying that's difficult for people that have not worked for the government to
I
understand.
do believe so. Yes.
Wow. Okay. So let's see. What would I say?
So let's say, for example, he said, just follow my steps, or do what I tell you to do.
But suppose he had said that.
Yes.
Okay, then I'm going to be constantly raising my hand because there are going to be things that he's going to ask me to do that are not going to fit.
Right.
For example, on that particular project, that project was not the project was in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
Okay. So one of the things that I did when I got there, I was told that we were going to have the training session on the base. Okay, not outside in the outside community. We're going to have it on the base. So that was a change that I requested to be made. The change was that if you have a situation of people not trusting on, the sides,
Right. Right.
trusting. The last thing that I think you want to do is have them to come in and have a lot of armed guards at the gate. They're going to wonder, okay, what's up with that? Why do you have machine guns here?
Right.
Yeah, why am I coming here? So I requested that we move it off base, and they did. They agreed to that. The
Mm.
other thing that I did was because many people speak Spanish. I requested that we have bilingual. We have English and we have Spanish on our signs for the invitation. Okay. The other thing that I recommended is that we go out into the community and be visible and be seen to communicate the event and why we're having the event and why they are welcome. So those are things that how would someone that's never been there, how would they be aware of these things? So I would have been raising my hand, every time because I'm looking at things that really don't fit. Now, I was told that the standard for success would be, I don't know, I think it said we have 20, 25, 30 people, that to attend. And I was told that the event was, I don't know, maybe it started at 8 o'clock or something like that. But they said, you don't need to be there, at that time. You can be there late. I said, no, I want to be there early. And I was there early. By the time I got there, it was maybe 7:30. We already had 35 people registered. So what they thought was 20, 25 people ended up being like 163 people.
Mm.
But that was because what I did the boots on the ground. I went out into the community. I talked about what we were doing. I had bilingual messaging, okay? And it was off base, so they felt comfortable, being there. And it worked out well. But sometimes when you are sitting, it's just like unfortunately, for me, I've been here a long time. And so there are things that I do well with my age, with the wisdom. But
Hmm.
there's a lot of times I need some young folks. And I've had people my age say, you know what, I don't want any young people, because they don't know this and they don't know that, and they're too much of in a hurry and blah, blah, blah. I said, well, I have one piece of advice for you if you don't want any young people. They said, what's that? I said, I put a out of business sign on my door because youth is valuable. Wisdom and age is good, but you don't live on an island by yourself. you need other things. And I impressed this to the person that works for me, who is a young lady. And I was telling her, I said, I'm giving you this example going through this to tell you and to show you that even when you work for someone else, don't just accept their answer if you know it's wrong. Because I asked her to do something, and what she told me, she said she thought it was like spam. And I said, oh, no, it's not spam. It's from the county, blah, blah, blah. That can't be spam. Guess what? It was spam.
Right.
She saw it and knew it right away. I
Right.
didn't.
Right.
So
Right.
what I did is that even though I'm the CEO, I'm the president, if I don't see it and someone else does, then I need to get out of that seat that I'm driving and let someone else drive because I'm
Right.
not capable of doing it.
Right.
So the basic thing, regardless of whether it's government or not, be open, be honest if you don't understand, be truthful if you can't do it. There's nothing wrong with saying this is really not my wheelhouse, or this is not really my strong suit. Because you always want your client to have what? The BEST, don't you?
Absolutely.
Because you want to get the MONEY.
Hey,
So
that's what you
yeah,
want. That's right.
that's what you want. And that's how you get it. And that's how people will refer you. I had someone that I used to work for in 2009. And I guess last year they referred somebody to me for a contract. That's a long time ago.
That's a long time ago.
And they said, if she's not available, she can lead you to other people that deliver excellence. See, now that's what I'm talking about. That's where we need to be.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow. Now, when you started off staffing, I've had since the time that we've met, I've had several people come to me. They want to do staffing, and they might make the excuse we can't find people. What were some of the ways in which you were able to find people to staff some of these projects?
Well, the first thing that I did really, I look to people that I know. I look to people that have a similar background because think about it, acquisition. Now, HR, I've never been in HR, but I do know people that have worked in HR, human resources, right? So look in your community, okay? Now I will tell you this. When you look in your community and you have someone to recommend someone, you need to know how they know that. You can't just say, well, Eric knows this person, they're great. You
Right.
can't do that. Now, you already know that, right? So just because somebody goes to church with you doesn't mean that they can the right person. You
Sure.
need to check their skills and qualifications. The other thing is that you can advertise it. And when you advertise it, they have various mediums that you can do postings. You can find people as well. And let me see. The other thing is asking people that already on contract there, working there, if they know someone. The main thing is making sure that you always feel confident that you're putting someone there that can do the job with excellence. So, and if you now see, that's another thing, because if you can't find someone in a timely manner, then you need to let the government know as well. Now, you say, well, what happens if they pass it on to someone else? But even if they do, would you rather them be upset with you thinking that you can't do the job? Or would you rather you walk up and say, "Hey, I'm having challenges finding the person." You can talk to them about, do they need to have a master's in business? They might have a requirement in it. They have to have a master's in business. You might have someone that meets everything, but they don't have the master's in business. They may have a master's, but maybe it's in something else. Maybe it's in English. So look at that. If there is there any room for negotiations regarding their qualifications if you can't find someone. And I understand that during the pandemic, it has been quite challenging because people want to work from
Work from
where?
home. Home.
Yes, they want to work from home. That's one of the first things they ask about. How many days I have to go into the office? And that one is for a lot of people, that has been a deal breaker. They're not willing to go into, go back into the office.
Has that impacted you in any way?
Me?
Yes.
No.
Wow.
No. Oh, you mean about my employees?
Employees.
No, no, because I have a mixed group. I
Okay.
have some that have to be in their office.
Right. They had that anyways, that requirement, just because of the
Yeah,
type of work they do.
yeah. But there was a time that they didn't have to go in, and they were very pleased with that. But then they realized that that day was coming, that they would have to be back on site in order for it to be paid. And they decided they'd like that option, getting a paycheck.
Okay. I like hey, hey, you're tough. I don't think people know
What?
that you're tough.
Me?
Yeah, you're tough.
Yeah. But staffing is really I've enjoyed it on the when I especially when I was a prime. I really enjoyed that. So we're not going to talk about the subcontracting.
Mm. Would you, a lot of times when small businesses are meeting with Apex and SBA and all these people, they tell them to start off by subcontracting. What would you say to that?
Do I? Oh, woo, woo. You don't want me to say it. It's interesting. I'm just going to say this. Now, I'm not going to contradict the people at, these places. Okay.
You're better than me. I
Well,
contradict them all the time.
the thing of it is,
Look, listen, I'm gonna say
think
this.
about one
You are
thing.
on my show,
Okay.
so you
All
can
right.
say whatever you feel your heart desire. I'm
Okay.
not here to pander up to anyone because that's why I created my own platform to be able to
Right.
have open dialogue about truth.
Yeah. You know, there are things that I do on purpose. This is my intention to do it. It's
Right.
not accidental. And when I started doing my business, I was very intentional about one thing. And I had a lot of people to tell me to be a subcontractor with the big companies and blah, blah, blah. I said, no, thank you. Thank you, but no thanks. The reason that I did not do it, now I don't know about anybody, the reason I did not do it is because if I have someone that's a multi-billion dollar company and I'm doing some work for them, if something goes amiss, they're going to lawyer up. They're going to toss me around like a little worn mat. And what can I do? Nothing. I said, if I can stand, even if I have something that's very small, I'd rather have that 100% and have it small and do it the way that I want with honesty, integrity, and excellence. Okay. Not that so I can make the most money, not because that's what you say you're going to do. I didn't want that. So, no, I don't agree with that at all. Did I say that? I do not agree with that at all.
You said
Yeah, at all. And I challenge anyone that will say they must do it that way. There are people that do it well, but I'm not one of them. I never did that.
yeah. I One of my friends worked at General Electric, and I remember this. This was like maybe 10 years ago,
Um,
and he was part of like that diversity group, right, of suppliers. So he was looking for diverse suppliers,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So he says he's having a hard time. And I go, well, let me ask you something. How fast do you pay people?
Wow.
Right? I mean, that's a honest question. I said, how fast do you guys pay people? They said, well, usually about 6 months.
6 months.
I said, so you want someone to finance a product for you, and they're GE, so they're buying multi-million. They're not buying $10,000 quantity of something.
Mm-mm.
You want me to finance millions of dollars of product to you for 6 months, and you're
Uh,
wondering why you can't find diverse suppliers.
and let me tell you, one of the things that I think we talked about it a little bit on the last show, but you know that I started my company with less than $50. Did you
I
know
don't
that?
remember that, but okay.
Yeah, I started with less than $50, and I'm a debt-free company,
Mm,
consistently, debt-free. And that is because I was not in that type of situation.
right,
That, and and when you get into you're starting a business and you don't have the money to do what you need to do, and you're looking for money, some people they'll give you the money, but the rates that they charge are just it should be a law against
yeah,
it.
should be a law.
Yeah, it's criminal. So for that reason, when you're in that type of relationship, and oh, by the way, when you are a subcontractor, you don't have privity with the contract with the government. So it's going to have to be something really way out of line for the government to step in there to do something. So you are kind of like on your own with respect to your payments.
Right. Yeah, I was on I was interviewed this past week, and I mentioned that's one of the things that when people say the government doesn't pay, I asked them, were you a prime or a sub? Because a
Right.
lot of people will say that
Yes.
based on being a sub,
Yes.
not being a prime. And
Right.
then they'll carry that and they'll start spewing that to people. Oh, the government doesn't pay. And I say, were you a prime or a sub?
Mhm.
Well, it was a government project. I said, that doesn't matter.
Mhm.
If you were a sub to one of these large companies and they decided to withhold your payment for whatever reason, that's not the same thing.
I'm telling you, it's a hard battle. I mean, you're taking on a battle that can put you on the sidelines,
Yes.
if not out of the game,
Yes.
period.
Lived it.
Yeah. No, you?
I lived it along. Yeah. In construction. That's when, during my journey, that was part of what happened to me. I
Oh,
picked up, I was a subcontractor on some private work. And it's to your point, an older person had told me they would never do that because it was too risky.
right.
And the first two projects,
Oh,
they spanked me. Let me tell you, they were
God.
both $100+ million companies.
Uh,
They did everything unethical, not just to me, to the customer, to the client,
oh,
to the
yeah.
project. And when I refused to go along with the things that they wanted to do, they just started basically making, um, putting me, filing claims against my bond, making notices of default on various. I mean, we're talking about throughout the entire project, not at the end of the project, because there was a lot of mistakes made, and they were covering them up, and they wanted everyone to get on board with that and support it, and I couldn't do it. And like you
Wow.
said, by the time it was all settled, they stopped paying me about 3 months, 4 months in. And because again, you have a contract. If you don't finish the contract, you forfeit your monies, right? The contract, because you've then violated. I learned a lot. And that's part of a lot of the story that I share with people from those two experiences. And it was interesting because the company, it's called Pond Contractors, Pond Construction. And we were building a Cummins power building for Cummins, the diesel engine manufacturers. And I met Cummins at a supply diversity event. And I told the lady from there about the story. And she says they weren't supposed to do that. And I said, but they did.
Right. Wow.
And I said, she goes, well, because in their contract, check this out. And this is important for people to know because they put, if we are to disclose or talk to the customer anyway,
Mhm.
that we could have our contract revoked for violating the terms of our agreement. So I was not able to disclose any of the improprieties and the mishandling of things. Otherwise, I would forfeit my contract and all the monies that was due to me. So I told Cummings, I said, you guys are going around and hiring these people that are giving these types of contracts. So now you as a customer are in the dark. How does that serve you well? But, again, I learned a lot from that experience. And to your point, when it does settle and I tried to, I made a claim against the building. The only way that I could get my money was I had to sue them to enforce the claim because the claim itself was just sat there, but to enforce to get paid, I had to sue them because, again, you say construction, because I had a bond on the project. My bonding company said in order for me to sue, I had to pick up two attorneys because I have a bonding guy's attorney, my attorney. Wait, it gets better. Because they're based in Atlanta, the project's in Miami, I have to have attorneys in Florida and attorneys in Georgia because I have to defend the contract that's happening in Florida, but they're going to take, because my contract says any dealings have to go back to their home base. I then have to go to Georgia courts. So not only do I need a Florida and Georgia attorney for me, I need a Florida and Georgia attorney for my bonding companies. I needed 4 attorneys to start to even file.
Wow.
So it's interesting because as I was sharing the story with Cummings, I told the lady it has a happy ending, right? And she goes, well, what's the happy ending? I said, you guys taught me during that process, one of my suppliers said to me, Eric, when you started your business, what did you do best? And I said, I never lost money with the government. And he said, go back to that. And so that's how I got back into government contracting and start picking up some work and got myself out of the hole and then launched my YouTube channel, and the rest is history. But it was through that situation, that all the turmoil and the pain that I went through, that's what happened. So you didn't know that story, huh?
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. It's enough to make me cry. Oh my
No. I cried a lot. I
I
cried.
thought that you didn't tell your mom until after everything was over and done
They
with.
knew what I was going through. They didn't know the severity of it. They knew that these people were being bad actors. But again, it's hard to, they didn't know the severity of it because until all the aftermath, right? Because essentially I had to lay off most of my employees. I was down to 2 people. And then I had to start working on the side to pay my 2 employees because, again, I ran out of money.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I had 2 companies that one of them withheld about $300,000 in payments, and the other one stopped paying me after a couple $100,000 in. And so I still had these employees that had to be paid, and I had to finish the projects with no money. So they didn't. But when after several months of doing that, I mean, I exhausted everything. Like, I mean, every creative bone in my body, I exhausted completely. And then eventually I had to, work a job to pay my employees to keep finishing the project. So they knew it was pretty severe for me to take a job on the side to keep this thing going. So that I didn't have to face bankruptcy. Right. I didn't want to file bankruptcy. I refused. Because one, I didn't do anything wrong. And 2, I was misled by the people who were I hired to protect me, that if I did my part, that it would work out in the end. They didn't tell me that I then would have to sue and have all these attorneys. They didn't tell me the full story.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh.
So that's why when I come on here and you hear me, I tell people I tell my truths. I say this to other people so that they can be prepared for these battles.
Right. Yeah.
So they don't. So when they're hearing these kind of these non-truths, so to speak, that's why I want you to say this. Then they're aware, and they're not surprised, and they can be prepared for battle because that's what it is. Or they can avoid to get. They can just not get in that situation.
And with the government, no, I mean, every now and then, I mean, I remember one place that I took a job, and when I went in the first week, I found out, looking through the files, that there were some unpaid invoices. There was 6 months had not been paid. But the good news was that when I saw it, I took immediate action
Right.
and made sure that all of the contractors there were being paid on time. And I immediately started a new process. And that process was that it's not staying in our office any longer than 2 days. It's going to move. And if you can't move it, let me know and I will make it happen. I will give you the resources and whatever you need to make it happen. And then when you do pass it on, then you're going to check until the contractor is paid. So I started that process, and then we had a whole different relationship with our contracting team because they knew that they were going to get paid. I mean, who can tolerate that 6 months and you're not paid?
Nobody can stand that.
No, no. And I'm sorry to hear that, but I hope that they were listening to that story.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Strong. You know what? I always knew that you were strong, but you're granted to be able to go through that.
No,
And
that
this,
was rough.
I'm not going to file bankruptcy. I'm going to walk out of this.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
No, and it's one of those things where when you see people and they have this mission, right? This purpose driven mission, you go, well, wonder where that person came from, right? Why is this guy fighting like cancer so hard, right? Why is this person fighting Alzheimer's, right? Why is this person fighting so hard? And that's why what you see about me, and I tell my team, and I tell people, I go, I don't care how many people come behind us and they want to do this and teach this. I said they're never going to beat us because they can't beat this,
Right.
and
Story.
they
Your
have to do this for money. They
right.
have to do it for money. You understand? I started my YouTube channel 2 years with no money, no monetization strategy. They can't compete against that. Who can compete against that? Who can do this for 2, 3, 4 years without being? They can't do it. They don't have that ability. So they have to then do things to try to get money.
You know,
So
it's interesting because do you know that I'm starting a podcast?
I did not know that, but let's talk about it.
But let me talk about it though. For the very reason that of what you said, I want you to know this. I would say that you are the reason that I'm starting a podcast.
I
And
love it.
the reason is, do you know that I still get people to reach out to me from the original podcast when Skippy was a puppy? And so here's the thing. I'm scaling down, CoSat because I'm going to be in a situation that I would have to be a subcontractor
Right.
all the time.
Right.
Mama don't like that.
Mm.
Okay. So I don't want that life. So I get lots of calls and emails and text messages, and people they need information.
Right.
They need help. And I like to be able to do that. However, they say, can we do coffee? Well, I'm an old Southern lady, so I don't do I drink coffee, but I don't do coffee.
Right.
They want me to have lunch. My knees are, well, you know what they are. You
Mm-hmm.
saw me trying to navigate around. I can't go here and there and all of that. So I just want a medium that I can, answer the
Right.
questions and
Sure.
help. Nor I have enough sense to know I'm not you. I support you.
Right.
I respect you. I trust you. So all the things that you have, here's a pathway. Here you
Right.
go. Here's Eric.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have some basic things that I can teach,
Absolutely.
some basic things that I can share. However, then they get to another level, and when they get to that level, they need to go here to you.
Right, right. No, I remember we talked about this when we met.
I know, I know. And now I'm just getting around to it. But I had so many things going on with my business. So now I have the still have the for-profit business that
Right.
I'm still down. I have a nonprofit which I'm heavily involved in. I have a food bank,
Mm-hmm.
so I have all those activities. And the thing that I want you to look at, and we had to talk about this because I don't know whether you've done that or not. When I was in the 8A program, I graduated in 2019. But guess when I started preparing to graduate from the program?
When?
In 2013.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Most people are not doing that. I can tell you.
I know. I did not want to. I mean, I looked at myself and I'm like, okay, well, I don't see somebody riding on a white horse coming over trying to swoop me up and take care of me. That is it. So what options does that leave for me? I needed to be able to have something that would provide viable, income for
Right.
me. I retired from the federal government. I do have Social Security, but I didn't want to try cat food, dog food, or anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I decided that I needed to have multiple streams of income, and that's what I wanted to share with you because you can really blow it out of the park.
Yeah. No, I know we've talked about that. I know some of the stuff that you've done and some of that success. So I'm very well aware of that. I'm proud of you. I think that's amazing. And it's great work that you're doing. That's
Yeah,
I've seen it.
yeah.
And I actually love the story behind it too.
The story.
Yeah, where you went from the condo to the house.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
yeah. And that has been an amazing thing. And now one of the things I'm looking at is how can I make a difference to provide housing for homeless veterans? That's on my
I think
top. Yeah.
that's a great initiative to take on.
Mhm. So I've been blessed to be able to do quite a few things. And Thanksgiving we did provided 400 turkeys and side dishes and household items to 400 military families through a nonprofit.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're scaling down the business.
Yes. Because see, remember we talked about the real estate. So
Right.
yeah. So one is going down, the other's going up.
Right. Right.
Hmm.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I
So
like it.
so that means that I don't have to write you and ask you, can I come and stay with you?
Well, we I can tell you I told my mom because we're planning out for the year and I said we got to get up there to DC. She says, "No, I know we got to go see Miss Corliss." And I
Yes.
said, "So because they've also never been, so I want to get them up there and they don't want to come during the winter, but that makes sense. They
Well, come when the pool is open. I'll have
yeah,
the pool. I'm not going in, but you guys can go in.
yeah. So I told them we got to get up there in the summer because and so we'll I'm working on them. I'm working on them.
Okay.
So I mean, look, they love when we took the kids to the pool. We went to Dominican. You saw those pictures,
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, the pool is nice. And the other thing too is that, well, except that during the summer, it's not going to be available because the beach house, it has a private pool as well.
mm.
Mhm. That's not in Virginia, that's in North Carolina.
Yeah, I know my sister. Yeah, I told her she should reach out about the beach house. But
Okay.
I'm trying to get my parents to the DC metro area in Virginia. I want to move them up that way to
Yeah.
see it. Not that we don't want to go to the beach house,
I
but
know, that's
I want to
fine.
get my family, because they need to go see all the monuments. They've never been.
Oh, wow. Really?
They've never been.
Wow.
People
Okay.
be surprised, so that to me is a great trip to get them a reason to come up there.
Well, obviously, yeah, I'm open. Yeah.
I
So
know
that
I
means,
know. Well, we're not going to come up there and not come by and spend time with you. So that's not happening. So
right.
we know that.
Exactly. I
No, no,
know
no,
that.
no. That my mom already said we got to go see Miss Corliss. So we
Right.
already know.
Yeah. So I have, let's see, I have upstairs, three bedrooms and I have two, lower level bedrooms.
Yeah.
I think
So,
we have enough space, right?
yes.
Uh, okay.
That's plenty. That's enough space.
And I have a hot tub.
That's it. Yes, that's enough space.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So
no, we're definitely not doing that. But yeah, so we're I'm working on they always pick the big holidays. So they're first they talk about Thanksgiving, and then we do a summer trip, and then they do a spring trip. So because my mom, her sister has Alzheimer's, so she
uh,
was going to Georgia to see her, but now she's in a facility with other people, so she's better off because she was home with her husband, but you know they were struggling, so she wanted to make sure she was secure.
now, are you going to do an event when you come here to this area?
Um,
You know,
you know,
you need to look.
you want me to do an event when I come up there?
Yes,
Okay, I could do an event.
I
We could
think
do
that.
it. We've been, I love it. I think they're always great. I mean, they always serve and they help and people love it and we have a good time. So yeah, I mean, we could do that. And DC has a great, I mean, every time I come to DC, the people that at least that come out to my stuff are great people. But I think I try to instill that into the culture, right? Of the people that I deal with. And again, some of the people I are further away from me than others. So they may be new to my channel, but the people that are working closely with me, they know what we stand for and what, they're with me or close to me because they have the same heart, the same feelings about what we're doing and our mission and our purpose of why we're
Yes,
here. Otherwise, they would not be close to me.
right. And you took something that would have crushed and stopped other people, and you used it. It's like the story of the mule. He fell in a hole, and the mule couldn't get out of the hole. And all of a sudden, he heard the voice of the owner, and he thought, "Wow, this is great. It's going to help me." So then he didn't hear anything. And then later on, the owner came back and heard other voices. And the mule thought, wow, this is it. I'm out of here now. And it started throwing dirt, throwing,
Mm,
throwing dirt. And so the mule was like, what in the world? After everything I've done,
wow.
this is what's happening to me. They're going to bury me alive. The mule was just totally outdone. And all of a sudden said, hey, I'm not going out like this. So the mule decided, as they threw the dirt, he stepped up. As they threw more dirt, he stepped up. And as they continued to throw the dirt, guess what? He was able to step up out of the hole,
Mm,
you see? And that's what you did, the dirt that was thrown your way.
mm-hmm.
I know there's no way it could not have been devastating,
Oh, completely.
but you took that positive step and stepped on that dirt and until you got out of that.
Right.
And I am so proud and you know what? And honored to know you.
Thank
I
you.
just, it's just an amazing, amazing, amazing comeback.
Yeah.
So, I think it was Frederick Douglass was talking about us as a people, as a race of people. And he said that when you measure us, don't measure us from where we are right now. Measure us from the depths from which we come to get here
Right.
to this point.
Right.
Yeah, you paid some dues.
Oh, I paid some dues.
Yeah.
And but that's so a couple things that it does when you pay dues. If you get past it, if you can get through it,
Yes.
So I haven't stopped learning. I haven't stopped becoming better. I haven't stopped getting stronger. I tell people every day I'm putting like 2 hours of books in me. So I'm waking up every day. Oh yeah. I do 5 mile walks every day and I'm
Ooh.
listening to audible books every single morning.
Uh-huh.
Um, with the exception, I was sick this past weekend, but after a couple of days of not doing my 5 miles, I was like, I got it. Look, I got to get out. Um,
Uh,
so we're we're constantly getting stronger. You can see the people that I'm surrounding myself with. You can see what they're doing. You've met some of the people. You see where
yeah.
they're headed. So we're putting together. Well, we've continued to keep growing our team, keep continuing to keep growing the people around us. Like you said, going from the person we're we're ascending higher in the ranks of the type of people that are wanting to support us, help us in different capacities. So, but that's we've grown our vision, and like you said, what you said to me is now becoming more and more common of what people are saying to me, how they see me and where we're headed. So, and we are structuring our organization to do that. So we are headed in that direction. So, I mean, you could see it, but I just wanted to confirm whatever, all the things that you're saying.
Yeah. And do you realize that when you talk about construction, you talk about staffing,
Right.
you do realize that do you hear the sound?
I
You
do.
don't? I do. You know what it is? Cash register.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, if you listen closely, you will hear it. And what you're going to see is that you are going to continually and continue to be blessed with more, more, and more because that's what you're doing. And you're helping so many people.
thank you.
Really,
Yes.
you're helping so many people in so many ways.
Yeah. No, thank you. What would you say, right? How would you say that you were able to manage having like emotional discipline during tough times?
How would I
Yeah, how have
say?
you managed to handle that over your journey in your business, right? Because I'm sure there's been times where, maybe you were challenged by an employee or a government official said that you did something that was not correct and you knew that you were correct, or right. Maybe, I've had a friend of mine that he took over a contract for it was like a base maintenance contract, and he
Oh,
had some people that were prejudiced because a black person owned the company that took over the contract, and so they said they didn't want to work for him.
ooh,
So then they said that he violated the contract because he didn't give them the first right of refusal to hire them.
wow.
Not saying the fact that they didn't said they made some blatant comments. I don't want to work for a, explicative person. And so he had to deal with Department of Labor and take them on because they charged him a penalty for violating the contract for not hiring these two individuals who clearly said they didn't want to work for someone of color.
Well, now,
So
so that word, I'm not going to say the
no,
one word that we're talking that you're not saying, but
right.
I can tell you that I was actually I was working in government then,
Okay.
and I was a manager, a second level manager, and the young man came over and told me, he said, "Ma'am, I don't mean no harm, but I just don't think I can work for a Negro." And to which I replied, "That's okay, baby, because I don't see any, do you?"
Ah,
Hey.
that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, yeah. But the thing of it is that when you face tough times, you face closed doors. As a matter of fact, a closed door that I had was started me in government contracting. I was living my best life. I was doing things in the community. I was helping people. And I had a contract and a renewed contract for 1 year that was signed in January. In February, I was called into the office and they closed the door and told me they ran out of money and that was it. And you know how I'm feeling about this. I'm a contracting officer by nature, by blood, so I knew I had a valid contract. So they're responsible for this contract to pay me.
Right. Right.
And so all of a sudden, God speaks to me in my spirit and says, thank them and walk away. But my valid contract, thank them and walk away. And that's what I did. And that night, I found an opportunity. And that became my first government contract.
Mm.
And oh, by the way, here's another part of the story. I was paid in 6 months, I was paid double of what I made for the whole year with the other. So that's why I tell people to thank God for closed doors because we never know. But how I made it is just like you, being determined to keep moving, to keep it moving. Because if you allow people and what they do wrong to stop you, you might as well just give it up. You have to keep moving through things that are hard, through things that are unfair.
Right.
There's no guarantee that it's going to be fair, but it's a guarantee if you do what you're supposed to do, you're going to make it. You're going to get on the other side. And I am so committed to that. I mean, when I look, I was sharing with someone my promise to God about my life. I promised him that I would never forget to remember where he brought me from, and I would never forget to reach out and help somebody else. And I'm really committed to keeping those promises. I've had some tough times. I've had people to tell me that, hey, you came from nothing, you're nothing now, you're always going to be nothing. I had those conversations. I had those, you're not up to the task, but yet I'm not up to the task, but yet you're going to put somebody in there that's they're really not up to it, and then ask me to go in and support them and help them to make it.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Yeah. So on the employee side and on the contractor side, those things we cannot, capital N, capital O, capital T, allow what happens to stop us or deter us from our destiny, which is not bad, is good, and maybe is great. So everything that happened, even with the pandemic and all of that, you know, no, no, that's not gonna. They had to do something a whole lot more than that
Mm.
to stop me. Mm-mm.
You know,
Just- I'm a
go.
woman of great faith, like your mama.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
You know, something that you posted recently, your one of your words of wisdom.
yes.
You know what it
What?
says? It says,
What?
"Don't stop when you're tired. Stop when the mission is complete."
Yes, 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 yes. See? Yeah.
Where do you get that stuff from?
You know what I do? I sit down in my chair and I let God speak to me. That's why I call them words of wisdom, by the way. From the Bible said, if any man lack wisdom, let him ask it of God. And the reason I did that is because I didn't want people to think I'm this whatever, whatever, whatever. No, I sit down and, I'll let so many will come to me during this, time I'm sitting and I write them down. As a matter of fact, I did that about 4 or 5 days ago. And I think that was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, let me look and see what, because I did that. But I think that of everything that have spoken about, you are one of the greatest examples. What happens when that dirt is thrown? Just imagine that hole.
Right.
dirt being thrown. And I tell you, I don't know, we haven't talked about that, but businesses getting money, is that still a challenge because it has been so much in the past?
Yeah.
I'm trying to get money where they're paying responsible rates, not.
You know, it's interesting. So what I've learned recently in trying to tackle that problem is that I recently interviewed someone who was the president and CEO of this large nonprofit in South Florida. I'm not going to say the name, who
Uh-huh.
also happens to sit on the Alliance for CDFIs, Community Development Financial Institutions. Those are the alternative lenders to banks that get federal dollars and from foundations to make loans, affordable loans to people who traditionally don't qualify. Interesting enough, what seems to be happening is in our communities, typically the minority communities, it seems like the organizations that are being entrusted with these resources, they don't know, they have no ability to be able to get this stuff into the hands of people like ourselves. So it seems there's a disconnect between the higher the people who are being entrusted with the funds
Uh-huh.
because and they not having a platform or a bandwidth, a way to being able to get them out to people. And so what I keep finding is that, and this has happened to me at least 4 times last year, there have been different organizations that have got funding from federal agencies and or contracts from municipal governments who have not, who failed to fulfill the mission, which includes technical assistance, training. These were the dollars allocated, affordable, not affordable housing. What is it called? The weatherization of housing and things like that nature. And they had the money to do it, and they couldn't get it done because they didn't have people or resources because they don't have the bandwidth to actually make it happen. And so that's one of the things that I've challenged my team with is we need to get connected to the people that have these funds because we have the bandwidth of people, talent, right? Businesses, we have an audience to be able to come in and execute and divide. But the people that are getting the resources are more well connected politically. They're more well connected to some of the organizations and the foundations, but they're more disconnected from the business community because again, if you look at to your point about today, if you were to advertise today, there's no more yellow pages, right? So if you were to advertise today, you have to do it on some sort of social media platforms, right? You have to come to the new world, like you said, podcasting, things like that. And so those people are not doing that in our communities.
Wow.
And that's what I've seen.
But
So, because
what,
I've been approached by several groups that want to use my platform to push out their what they have access and resources to, but they didn't want to compensate us in any way. So they just
uh,
wanted us to send them people without. And we said, well, we don't even know if you guys are how you gonna do right by the people. We don't have an MOU. We don't have any agreements in place. You just wanted to come on there and us talk about these offerings that you have. You've clearly failed on them because that's why you came to me. You didn't come to me when you award the monies and resources. You came to me when you're behind and you're failing, and now they're going to take it away from you. So I'm putting my people in compromising situations at this point.
but why can you not get the money?
That's one of the initiatives because we never sought it out, but that's part of our initiatives this year.
You happen to be a nonprofit or what?
So GovCon Giants is actually a nonprofit,
Okay.
but we never sought out those dollars. But the more and more that I've seen as being out here public facing person, what's happening, we're going to be more intentional about pursuing some of those funding sources and giving them alternatives.
Yeah. One of the things that my mama used to say is that you never give somebody a hammer to hit you over the head with.
I like that one.
I know, you know me. Hello, Miss Country. But so with that in mind, one of the things that I will say is that sometimes you're going to start a business and you're looking at your business and your business plan, et cetera. You have to look at yourself as a business owner from a holistic standpoint. What do I mean by that? That means that you're looking at your business and your rating and so forth. But you also have to look at your personal side, because many times when you're starting a small business, they're looking at that, but they're really looking at where you are personally.
Right.
So your credit score and how you pay your bills and all of that, it is very, very important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And if you are in not in a good situation, you need to know how to walk yourself up out of that hole.
Yeah. No,
But you gotta
you
take
know,
your
no, no,
head.
no. I mean, I love what you're saying because for me, all of these challenges have taught me how to be extremely creative and solve issues.
Yes.
And so I tell my team when we're trying to work with a group or organization or someone and it's really hard,
Right.
I tell them to lean in because if it's hard for us, it's hard for everyone. And when we achieve this and accomplish it, that means the wall is going to be that much greater to keep other people out. If it's easy for us to break in and easy for us to get past the barriers, then the barriers of entry for the next group of people are going to be just as easy. So I think that adversity has taught me that part of it. And so I actually like, I lean in. And I had a podcast guest of mine, and she said when she chose IT, she goes, I want the complicated projects because those are the ones that people can't figure out. And those are also the ones with the highest margins because the average person can't figure those
Yeah.
out. And so she built a business around the complicated projects.
Wow.
So that's just again, I think everything starts here, right? And how you perceive it. And it's very easy to get turned around. And it's also very easy to be deceived within your mind.
Hmm.
And I think that's where a lot of people already have lost the battle is the battle in their head.
Well, I mean, and trying to do it, not really being prepared
Oh,
for the real world. And what I said about making sure on your personal side, everything is tight there. And the other one is that where you are today, you didn't do that in 5 minutes.
no.
So if I come, I can speak on a microphone,
Right.
but what is that going to do? Is that going to make, no, I'm not going to be you.
Right. Right.
So many times they're looking for that answer. And you know what I say? Crawl, walk, run, and in that order. A
Right.
baby never starts off running. They crawl, they walk, and then they run. But many times when people are starting their business, they're so interested in getting here that they don't take the time to know that there are things they have to learn. There are things they have to go through. There are things they have to master. There are things they need help with. And that's another one of my little tidbits. I know what I know. I know what I don't know. And what I don't know, I always try to surround myself with champions and someone that knows what I don't know. So therefore, you can keep what? Moving.
Oh yeah. Right.
If
Right.
I'm standing in place because I don't know, that's not going to help me
Right.
progress.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. No, well, listen, we've had this has been a great conversation. I can't wait for the podcast. I'm excited about it. I think we all have a story to tell, and I don't think we should take this to the grave. I think we should be sharing this and making it available to people to have
And sharing
and
what you know. But
sharing what
here's
your
the
experience is. Go ahead, pull it up.
be sad because it's over. Be happy because it happened.
I saw that one.
Yes, you saw that
I
one.
saw that one on your page.
Yeah, yeah. So I thank you. I thank you so much. I thank you for me, and I thank you on behalf. I'm going to say something here, and people say, "Well, Dag, what is she talking about?" I want to thank you on behalf of millions, millions. You hear what I said, right?
Hmm.
That you will reach and help. So that's a prophetic word.
I love it. I love it. I No, thank you for coming on today. Thank you for providing a different perspective on business, right? And growing a business. And again, on life and faith, because I think sometimes we try to, it was something that I read and it said, no one's an atheist in the foxhole.
Oh God. Where did you read that? Oh my God.
It was in a book that written by the guy who founded Worldwide Technologies.
Uh,
And he's a black guy who also it's 52 like lessons from the Bible on how to build a business. And so he teaches that. And that was part of when we did our annual leadership meeting in January, part of my morning devotions. And so it was through the book. And so it's a great book, by the way. I highly recommend it to everyone. I enjoyed every moment of it. An easy read. And he was just saying, because some people say, well, I have this and that and faith. It's, but lately, and when I say lately, I mean, since we've spoken, I mean, over the last year, I've been reading books by billionaires and learning from their experiences of what they did. And it's interesting because anyone could do this, but people don't do it.
right.
The books are not reserved for me. They're available for everyone. But people are not being intentional about where they want to go in the direction of their life.
If
And
they don't
so,
believe they can. They don't believe that they can. They did it, but that doesn't apply to
right,
me.
right.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting. That gentleman today, his company is worth about 17 billion. He was in
Wow.
the 8A program.
Wow.
The 8A program took him from 17 million a year to 70 million a year.
Wow.
So he benefited from that to go on and build a multi-billion-dollar enterprise.
It can be done.
And it can be done. And by the way, as a person of faith. And so he just wanted to show that you don't have to separate the two things.
Yeah.
And that's what the people try to tell you. And that's what they make you believe. And which that doesn't have to always be the case. So I want to share that because that's what you keep bringing, continue to bring
Yeah.
every time you come on the show.
Yes, and that's why the abundance and the seed that's in my hand by faith, and I see I'm so excited just to see where you are now. Look at where you were and look at where you are now.
Right.
Look at what you've overcome. Continue to inspire.
Thank you.
Continue. And I will do everything always that I can to support you and what you and your team are doing.
That's great.
Always,
I
always.
appreciate that. Thank you.
Just the mama you.
Mama you, as always, everyone. Thanks, Mama you. We appreciate you. We love you. Thanks for having us.